Welcome to the Glitch Report, your daily marketing botcast. Brought to you by Leadpages. Here are our hosts, Kai and Luna.
Hey everybody, and welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be looking at some really fascinating trends that are happening online. Everything from the staying power of Google to creatives kind of going independent, and even a pretty cool new feature for businesses to use. So
yeah,
you ready to jump in?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. So first up, let's talk about Google.
Okay.
You sent me this report from Rand Fishkin, and I got to say, I was actually really surprised by some of these numbers. You know, with all this talk about AI taking over the world,
right?
It seems like Google is still like the king of the search world.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. You know, despite all the hype around AI, 2/3 of people are still actively using Google to search. So that means, you know, for most of us, when we have a question or we need to find something online, Google is still our go-to.
Yeah, and it's not even just like a quick check here and there. This report says that 81% of internet users worldwide use Google at least once a month. That's a lot of search.
That is a huge number, yeah.
But here's what I thought was really interesting, though. Desktop users average 126 searches per month.
Okay.
But the median is only 53.
Right.
What do you think about that difference?
That's really interesting. You know, that median of 53 searches, it kind of suggests that while some people are really living on Google, you know, a lot of us are using it more intentionally, like for specific tasks, you know, research projects, or when we just really need to find a reliable answer to something.
Right.
It makes you wonder, you know, how do you use Google, and what does that tell you about your own relationship with information?
I know. I find myself Googling things just out of habit sometimes.
Yeah.
It's so ingrained in how we access information now.
Totally.
But speaking of habits, let's talk about this trend of creatives ditching social media.
Yeah, this is a fascinating one. We're seeing artists, writers, musicians, all sorts of creative people saying, see ya later to the big social media platforms.
Right.
And they're building their own websites, newsletters.
Their own platforms.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love this story of Philip Amor, this writer who made that switch. And, you know, for people who aren't familiar, when we say domain, we're talking about, you know, setting up your own website, a place that you control.
Exactly.
And she was saying that she just felt so much more creative freedom, you know, less pressure to perform for the algorithms.
Yeah.
And just overall a sense of well-being.
That makes a lot of sense, you know. I think there's this growing sense of what we might call algorithm fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
It's that feeling of being overwhelmed by the constant pressure to perform well on social media.
Yeah.
You know, to always be chasing likes and shares and comments.
Yeah, it can feel like a hamster wheel sometimes, right?
It absolutely can. It can feel like you're constantly creating for the algorithm instead of creating for yourself.
Totally. So moving to their own space gives them that control back. But does that mean they risk reaching fewer people?
Right.
How do they balance that?
That's the challenge, isn't it? But, you know, a lot of these creatives are finding that by building an email list or engaging with their audience directly through their website, it can actually create a much more genuine connection than relying on these social media algorithms. It's about quality interactions over quantity.
So they're kind of building their own little communities online, like outside of these giant platforms.
Exactly.
That's a pretty big shift.
It is a big shift, and it makes you wonder, you know, are we heading towards a more fragmented internet where instead of scrolling through one giant social media feed, you visit different websites for each of your favorite creators? You know, that's kind of what this trend is pointing to.
Yeah, that actually sounds kind of refreshing in a way, like a more personalized online experience.
Yeah, more curated to you.
Totally. Now that desire for control and authenticity that we see with these creatives, it's also playing out in how businesses interact with you online.
Yeah.
Which brings us to this clever new feature from Google.
Okay.
Those QR codes for review.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one. It's a really smart move by Google. Now, remember, Google Business Profiles? Those are the tools that businesses use to manage their online presence on Google Maps and search. It's how they show up when you search for a restaurant or a store nearby.
Right.
And now they can create these QR codes that take you directly to their review page.
It's brilliant because you could put those QR codes anywhere.
Exactly.
On receipts, menus, storefront windows.
Yeah.
Like anywhere your customers are.
Anywhere.
It's a really easy way to encourage people to leave a review.
Absolutely. And reviews are incredibly valuable for businesses.
Well, for sure.
They boost their visibility in local search results.
Yeah.
They build trust with potential customers.
Right.
And they help them create this positive online reputation.
Yeah.
So this simple little QR code could be a game changer, especially for smaller businesses trying to stand out.
Totally. It's all about making it easy for customers to share their experiences, good or bad, right?
Yeah.
Transparency builds trust.
Absolutely.
It definitely gives you a lot to think about as you navigate the online world. How do you use tools like Google? What's your relationship with social media? And how do you feel about the increasing role of reviews in shaping our choices?
All great questions.
Yeah. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.
Expert.